Hey everyone, I am your host for today, Elisha. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast. And as we about to listen to this episode, I want you to listen to understand. And whatever it is that you've understood, I want you to apply it in your life. Shalom. Glory be to God in the highest, the Father of mercies. Good, beautiful evening to you all. God bless you abundantly, and it is well with you in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you so very much, everyone, for always creating our time to listening to our podcast. And like I say all the time, it means a whole lot to me. Thank you so very much, and may the good Lord continually bless you. So this previous Friday, we couldn't publish a new episode. And if you've been following for a very long time, if you've been an old listener, you know what I mean? Like you've been following way back. By now, you should understand why. Many times when we listen to things the very first time, we tend not to capture it in all its totality. What do I mean? At times, we might miss some certain things during first listen. So the Holy Spirit wants you to go back to the previous episode and re-listen. So you can hear something you didn't hear the first time. So you can understand some certain things you didn't understand the very first time. Because this is the Word of God. And many of you can be a witness to this. Many times when you read the Bible and you be like, wow, but I've been reading this particular verse for a very long time, and this particular revelation never dropped out of it. Wow, that's amazing, right? It occurs to me all the time. So that's understanding is the reason why at times I don't release some new episode. So you're expecting, but you didn't get, so you have to go back to the previous one and release it. All right. Thank you so very much, and God bless you. So we're just going to proceed from where we stopped. A very interesting topic, what it means to be made in God's image. And by now, you should already understood that your physical features ain't what makes you a creature in God's image. Look physically. It is way deeper than that. But religion tells you that you have the same nose as that of God. So when religious people say, look at my nose, it looks just like that of God. And now this is someone with some pointed nose and small nose. So folks with the big nose is like us. Who created us then? So you see, it ain't about the physical features at all. It's way deeper than that. And now, there are many folks in the world who, let's just say many Christians in the world who say they are created in the image of God, but they're talking from the standpoint of their physical features. That's their understanding as to what that statement means. And that's why you see the devil is able to still torment them, oppress them, and deal with them bitterly. Because the only thing that makes you a creature in God's image, you don't even know it. You don't even have it anymore. Because one thing understanding and awareness does, it activates things. For instance, let me give you an example. You aren't aware that this particular road, there are wild animals in that road. You aren't aware. So now that you're going that path, nothing is activated. No, no, don't let me pass that road. That ain't activated. The fear of what if I get jumped out by a wild animal, it ain't activated. And now you're going and going and going. And the lion appeared and now instantly fear is activated. You run and you try to go to safety. So that's what I mean when I say knowledge and awareness activate things. So if you're not living the consciousness of your God's image, you don't know what that means, and you're not even aware of it, you can never activate the power that it's got to, make you a wonder. That's why it is important to listen to podcasts like this. There are beautiful podcasts out there, and the Witnesses podcast is one of them. And that's why I always appreciate you guys for dedicating your time to listening. I truly appreciate you. Now, we're going to be talking about some beautiful things today, and I want you to pay attention to well, all right? Because this is so important. So the title for today's topic is The Reality of the Lost Image. The reality of the lost image. You see, there is nothing as sad as you giving someone something and the person lost that thing because the person doubted you. There is nothing as sad as that. Can I give you an example? All right. Now you gave your son a beautiful bracelet as a beautiful mom that you are. You give your son a beautiful bracelet, even though it looks weird and hard. But nothing is wrong with this with the bracelet. It's just emotionally attached to you, and you feel like you should pass it down to your son. All right, and now your son has got this evil wife, and and the wife was able to manipulate the whole situation, and was able to convince your son that the bracelet you gave your son is a demonic one, and only witches put it on. How does she know? Maybe she's a witch. And now she then convinced your son to give her the bracelet, saying she's going to do some silent prayers on it. Meanwhile, your son's wife is only eyeing the bracelet. She wanted it to be hers. And she deceived her husband, and the husband, who is so foolish, gave his wife the bracelet. And now after she got the bracelet, and you saw your son a week after, and you be like, oh my boy, how is it with the bracelet I gave? You love it, right? And your son be like, well, my wife collected it. Yeah, she said something like it's a demonic one and she's trying to sanctify it for me. And you then realize that your son's wife started wearing the bracelet because she loved it. That is the reality of mankind. God gave mankind dominion over the whole earth. And mankind, because they acted ignorantly and are so foolish, they submitted this dominion to the devil. The reason why we have chaos in the world today, diseases, viruses, corruption, lack of contentment, homosexuality, divorce, hatred, envy. The reason why we have all of these things in the world today is because mankind surrendered dominion to the devil. Now I want to take you back to some very interesting way of living. This planet, according to the Bible chronology, it says it's over 7,000 years. And now let's see for the past 7,000 years, in the beginning, the first step, all right? There was this way of living that, that the earth experienced. Or should I say, there was this lifestyle that the earth experienced. And by earth, I mean the animals, the trees, the waters, the ground, the fruit, all of the creatures upon the face of the earth. There was a certain lifestyle they are used to in the beginning. You know, when God created man, God said the reason why he created man. Did you get that? When God created man, he made mention the reason why he created man. And I'm always going to this particular verse because you cannot improve on the truth. You can't improve on the truth. The truth would always be the truth every blessed time. And you shouldn't get tired of hearing the truth. Now, God said in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, it says, let us make man kind in our image. And I want to make them to be like us. I want to make mankind to be like us. What does that statement mean? God said, let us make mankind in our image. Then he proceeded. He said, the way I want to make these particular creatures is way different from the way I made the sun, the way I made the moon, the way I made the trees, or even the way I made the animals. These particular creatures are going to be so different. How? Because I want to make them to be not like the animals, not like the trees, not like the ground, not like the waters, not like any kind of species upon the face of the earth, not even like the devil. But I want them to be like me. They will reign over the fish in the sea, Birds in the sky, the livestock, and all the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground. In other words, let them have dominion over the planet called Earth. This was the reason why God made mankind, because he wanted to extend his invisible dominion to a visible realm. He's got dominion over the heavens, and he alone owns this dominion. But he wanted to extend his government to a physical realm. So he couldn't get the animals to do it. He couldn't get the trees to do it. He couldn't even get the waters to do it. So that's why he created a distinctive creation called mankind. And he gave mankind dominion over the face of the earth. So what it means to be made in God's image is to be like God operationally. Is to be like God in functionality. Is to be like God in character. Is to be like God in capacity. Not necessarily physical features. Because God is a spirit. Okay. Now, what's the title again? The reality of the lost image. God made mankind in his image. What does it mean to be made in God's image? That's the question. To be made in God's image simply means to have authority over the earth and to be clothed with purpose. In other words, you have authority over the face of the earth and you are entrusted with a particular assignment. And that's what it means to be made in God's image. In other words, God saw in 2025 the world is going to be experiencing this kind of evil in the health sector. Many doctors will only be concerned about curing the symptoms and not the illness. God saw that they're definitely going to turn the cancer disease or the cancer virus or the cancer sickness to a multi-million-dollar business. So it is too profitable to invest in a cure. God saw all of these things. God foresaw how the doctors, the physicians are going to create drugs that cost us way cheap, to create these stuffs. But then it gets to the market and they sell it at a high price, all in the name of profit. So what did God do? God created you, the one who He is assigned to walk in the health center. Listen to me now. God created you for that particular purpose, to solve the particular problem. In other words, they are too evil and too profit minded to invest in a cure that ends cancer. God has called you to invest in the cure by His Spirit. So what? That's your glory. That's your purpose. And now they may ask you who gave you the authority to do so. God knows that. Then that's why God also gave you authority. So when you live in the consciousness of the fact that you weren't just born, you were sent. That's you being clothed with glory. That's your purpose, your assignment. And now, when you are constantly aware that you were sent by God and He authorized you to do what you were born to do, that way you are functioning as creature made in the image of God. This was what Adam was doing. Look at it. After God created all of the beautiful fruits and trees in the garden, and He made the garden so beautiful, God has got this high taste for beauty. That's why you shouldn't settle for less. You want to beautify your apartment, do it so beautifully. I tell you, do not use things that ain't beautiful because God doesn't love something that ain't beautiful. Don't misquote me, please. That's why He made the garden so beautiful. And He kept Adam in charge. And He told Adam, hey, Adam, now I'm giving you authority, all right, to tend and care for the garden. Bring the best out of this garden. Take good care of the animals. Make everything flourish and look beautiful. Adam, yes, sir. Got it, my king. And Adam got to work. He started functioning in his purpose. Adam was created specifically to tend and care for the garden and to also, multiply the species called man. But his own specific purpose was to tend and care for the garden, bring the beauty out of the garden, bring the beauty out of the animals, make everything flourish upon the face of the earth. That's farming and treating the animals. You know? And he was doing his purpose, it was functioning in his purpose beautifully. And as this was going on, can I shock you? There was no sickness. Why? Because Adam was in charge. He was exercising dominion. He was exercising his authority to be in charge and make everything beautiful. God gave Adam the authority to make everything beautiful, and Adam was living in this consciousness. So there was no sickness, there was no divorce, there was no lack of contentment, there was no masturbation, there was no homosexuality, there was no all of this evil corruption, there was no all of this evil atrocities. None. There was no abuse of plants. There was no abuse of things. Adam wasn't sleeping with the female animals. Neither was Eve sleeping with the male animals. None of these things occurred. There was no economic crisis. There was no abuse. There was no confusion. Why? Because Adam was functioning in his assignment under the covering of the authority God has given him. In other words, that automatically made him a creature made in God's image. That automatically make him God-like. So he is just like God. Because in heaven, God is exercising authority, and God is also putting everything in order. That's his own purpose, to put the whole of heaven in order. That's why you see when the devil went to try to overthrow him, he gave charge to the angels, keep that bastard out. Because it is God's duty to put the whole of heaven in order. He's the king. Remember? And now, Adam was leading and ruling. Don't forget, very important, please listen to this. While Adam was ruling and purifying the whole planet, the devil was there. The devil was on earth while peace was reigning, while corruption was in absence, while evil couldn't thrive. The devil was there with his demons. When corruption couldn't gain roots, the devil was right there. So don't you ever tell me that the world cannot experience peace again. All the world needs to do is to understand this message about God's kingdom. Because that's the only peace, that's the only thing that can restore peace again. The devil was right on the planet, and Adam was doing all of his things. Now, come picture this with me, all right? Okay, just picture me. Now, the devil and his demons, wherever location they were in on earth that time, because the bastard is always roaming about, and now the demon's been talking to him. Hey, master, can't you see? I wanna spread out corruption into the world, but I cannot. Why is this happening, master? Then hatred spoke. Hatred said, same here, master. I want to release hatred into the world, but I cannot. I cannot. What is going on, master? It's more like we're in bondage, master. What is happening? And disease also spoke. He said, I want to fill the whole planet with so much disease, and I want to corrupt everything, and I want to do all of these things. I just want to manifest myself as disease that I am, but I cannot do it, master. What is happening, master? What is going on? We left heaven and we came down here. Now we don't even have freedom, master. What is going on, master? I think the demon said so. And devil himself said, listen, you all. Do you think it is only you that is hurting? I am hurting you. I want to put out the spirit of murder, envy, betrayal. I want to spread among the world corruption, hatred. I want to spread into the world, focus on money and all of the material things. I want human being to begin to sleep with animals. I want male man to begin to sleep with another male man. I want female to begin to sleep with female. I want all of these things to start to occur. But you see, I cannot manifest myself, the devil said. And they all said among themselves, but it hurts us when peace triumph. Master, it hurts us when there is peace. Look at what Adam is doing. The guy is in charge. Look at what he's doing. He ain't giving us freedom to do what we gotta do. I really want some people to keep dying out of sickness. Master, what do we do? And I believe the devil told them, hey, you guys, panic not. When the Creator was creating me, He gave me something called wisdom. Even though my wisdom ain't righteous anymore, it's now corrupted, but I'm going to utilize my wisdom. Just watch out and see. Then I believe the demon said, okay, master, please do something about it. There's something about it. Do you know why I believe this is how those demons might have spoken? Because remember when Jesus appeared somewhere and there's a particular man who's got this unclean spirit? Remember how the demons spoke? They spoke like someone who could be emotionally triggered and they have this feeling. And that's why I believe they spoke that way. Then the devil said, I'm going to utilize my wisdom, just watch out and see. And now, Adam, where he was, if Adam wanted to eat fish, all he needed to do was to speak forth to the river, and fish comes out. If Adam wanted to get something above the other side of the river, all he needed to do was to walk on water. If Adam needed fire, all he needed to do was to call forth fire. He was exercising dominion. Remember, he has been authorized to bring the best out of the garden. He's got the authority by God, which makes him a creature in God's image. And Adam was doing these beautiful things. It was going well. It was going nice. And Eve has got this amazing techniques. She's got crazy recipes. She know how to bring the best out of different food. Amazing life. They were eating everything they wanted and they were feeling fulfilled. They weren't working for money, neither were they working for impression from one another. They were working to fulfill God's interest. So, in other words, who was Adam? Adam was heaven's representative. Adam was an ambassador from heaven, working tirelessly to exercise and carry out heaven's interests. Because God's aim and goal is to extend his government from an invisible kingdom to a visible one. So Adam is an active representative of that kingdom. You see, he was living solely to carry out the interest of the kingdom. And all of this beautiful things was going on and all. Everything was going perfect and beautiful. Perfect and beautiful. You know, they were speaking to the animals. They were to the point where Adam even gave the animals names. He named them all. The folks we call crocodile today, Adam gave them the name. The elephant, he gave them the name. Lions, he gave them the name. Even mosquito, he gave them the name. Now picture this with me. How was Adam able to handle mosquito as tiny as they are? And he could name them. How was he able to hold them that he couldn't kill them? And there were even insects that are way tinier than the mosquitoes. And he grabbed them all and he gave them names. How? Because when you're walking in your purpose, you do the impossible. When you're walking in your purpose, people call you wonder. When you're walking in your purpose, you do mind-blowing things. Why do you think you all love Michael Jackson? Because folks was walking in his purpose and now before you all is a great wonder. That's how it is. When you walk in your purpose, you do wonder. Look at Henry Ford. We call him Wonder today. He carried out his purpose. You see, and everything was going all well and perfect and fine. And life was going fine. And even the creatures, the plants and the trees, they were all doing so greatly fine. And even the fish in the sea were all doing well. They were all talking about how effective Adam's work was. And everything was going perfectly fine. And everything was beautiful, I tell you. I tell you, the weather was so perfect. No climate issue. No issue with tornadoes and volcanoes. Everything was going on well. Until one day. Until one day, and everything turned upside down. Until one day, and things that was done without stress, now being done with so much stress. Until one day when his life turned so hard. Until one day when peace traveled and returned no more. One day when sanity left and insanity took over. This breaks my heart each time I think about it. I'm gonna pause here today, okay? We continue next week Friday. But don't forget, until one day. Just follow me. This is a very interesting topic. And you see, listen not because you wanna show that, okay, Elijah, I'm listening. Listen because you wanna listen to be transformed. That's my aim. That's why I'm doing all of these things. If you're listening to this podcast and you ain't applying what you're learning here, oh boy, that means I'm just being useless. So I don't want that, alright? Whatever you learned and understood, apply it. That you go out there and teach others. Don't just keep this to yourself, okay? God ain't interested in all of this religious stuff that you're doing. God is a political king. He ain't a pastor. No, he's a prophet. He is a king. And all that God is concerned about is his kingdom. And that's why he created you to represent his kingdom. Understood? You're not here to represent your denomination. Like how corrupted the world has become now. I am of this denomination. I am of that denomination. I am of you create enmity among folks. You see? You divide folks, division. You're not here to come represent your denomination. You're here to come represent heaven. And that's the truth. So we continue next week Friday. Thank you so very much for listening. Do me a favor, just one. Share this episode with your friends and families. Do not listen to it alone. Share with them right now. I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Okay, I'm still waiting. Yeah, share the link with your friends and family right now. I'm not commanding you, I'm just asking politely. So that's going to be the end. Thank you so very much for coming and thank you for listening. Don't forget, the Holy Spirit is in charge and in Him will live, move, and have our being. Shut. Hey everyone, thank you so very much for listening to that wonderful episode by me. And do well to join our subscriber chat. We've got to stay connected. And the link to our subscriber chat will be available on the show note to this particular episode. Thank you and God bless you. Shalom.